بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Will the West accept a caliphate which has the popular support of the masses? Written by Islam says. This has been reproduced from 5 pillars on the 95th anniversary of the abolishment of the Ottoman Caliphate. Hannes slides ask whether the international community will accept the formation of a caliphate which has the popular support of the masses. The violence which followed the declaration of Islamic State in 2014 has obliged our perception of a caliphate as a macabre project bent on brutalizing its opponent and unleashing terror. For many, it confirmed suspicious that any authorized role played by Islam in public affairs will lead to the suppression of freedoms, sectarian violence, and litany of human rights abuses. But what if we witness the establishment of Islamic State, which was genuinely representative of those under its rule and one that could guarantee the rights of non-Muslims? Will the international rules-based order permit the emergence of a caliphate backed by legitimate mandate? Dispelling myths. Before answering these questions, we must dispel a popular misconception contrary to some unorthodox arguments. The desire to establish and live under caliphate is not a romanticized fantasy kindled by reactionaries. Rather, there is consensus among the 13,000 years of classical Islamic scholarship that appointing a caliph is an obligation, no different to the rituals of prayer, fasting, almsgiving, and pilgrimage. This topic was often the elephant in the room, due to fears that expressing support for the very notion of a caliphate would render someone an apologist for terror in this Islamophobic climate. However, rarely will you find a scholar, student of traditional Islamic studies, or observant Muslim rejecting this normative position. While appeals to religion as an organizing principle for state policy is unthinkable in liberal societies, we must come to terms with the fact that Islam, as Shadi Hamid notes, is exceptional in that it has proved resistant in the face of Western secularization. The same cannot be said of Christianity, which succumbed to the Reformation. Therefore, vocal demands for caliphate is a natural outgrowth of this resilience, as from its conception, Islam was a creed from which emanated a system of jurisprudence pertaining to governance, economics, and international relations. The Caliphate, a normative Islamic concept, history bears witness to the successful application of Islamic law for millennia, spawning an illustrious civilization from the Umayyads and Abbasids to the Ottomans. Islamic culture fused with local tradition to provide distinctive forms of statecraft, science, and art. On the essence that some historians argue that the European Renaissance derived inspiration from the intellectual contribution of Muslim polymaths who derived under successive caliphate. The suggestion that any implementation of Sharia law in public affairs will sound the dead nail for minorities belies the prophetic model, which enshrines the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. One example would be the Mithal al-Madina, a constitution drafted by Prophet Muhammad ﷺ after being invited by the feuding clans of Medina to become the leader to help overcome intertribal rivalries. The Medinian Charter carried the force of law and was drafted with the intention of effecting peaceful relations in a heterogeneous social composition comprising of Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This formed a precedent for later caliphate which, for generations, incorporated as mosaic of cultures and successfully integrated minorities in a single confederation with common rights and responsibilities. An imperial world order of nation-states. As much as the West claims to value self-determination and diversity, why is there no objective assessment of a caliphate's unifying potential in light of these historical realities? And why do Western policymakers insist on no negotiation with the very ideal of a caliphate? History reminds us that the specter of a caliphate can be traced to Western imperialists who deem its presence as an extension to the Westphalian model of the nation-state. When advancing its imperial agenda across the Muslim world and enticed by the discovery of energy reserves across the Persian Gulf, Britain played an instrumental role in disbandment of the Ottoman Empire during the First World War, inciting Arabs to overthrow the decaying vestige of the Ottoman Caliphate. Lord Kinchman, Britain's High Commissioner in Egypt, formalized plans to champion an Arabian kingdom under British auspices by fomenting bloody uprising to ultimately shift the nucleus of Islamic power from the Ottomans to the Arabs. eventually culminating in the abolishment of the Islamic State on the March 1924. 6. Boycott legacy. Today, the turmoil engulfing the Middle East is very much the legacy of the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which sought to convert Arab territories into British protectorates with false promise of sovereignty, drawing a line in the sand which stretched from the Mediterranean coast to the Persian frontier. As the MC Mahon Hussein correspondent revealed, European maneuvers to create this post-war division and carve up the Middle East into jealous principalities along ethnic and sectarian lines, as declared by Lawrence of Arabia, could only be achieved if the desire to restore a transnational caliphate was uprooted from the hearts and minds of Muslims, and the custodianship of Islam's holy state was entrusted to an impostor vassal, Saudi Arabia. This alien imposition was the brainchild of the imperial ruling class and the Arab elite, designated to recapture any torment of pan-Islamic solidarity in the Muslim world, and served as facade behind which Britain could obtain exclusive control of the Middle East by championing a nominal Arab independence. In recent decades, the aggressive posture of the international community vis anything remotely resembling an Islamic state bears the hallmarks of this colonial past. When the Islamic Salvation Front was poised to win the two-thirds majority required to change the constitution during the Algerian parliamentary election of 1991, the US endorsed the military suspension of the electoral process due to a deep-seated fear among the policymakers that such a change would stymie the pursuit of Pax Americana across the North Africa. Of course, the US would bear no blame for the civil war, which ensued in the aftermath, since it achieved its main objective of starting the aspiration of Islamic movement, which espoused an anti-imperialist agenda. This wasn't the only squandered opportunity to demonstrate its commitment to democratization in the Muslim world. More recently, the Arab Spring exposed the paradox of the democracy when the West supported a bloody coup to oust Egypt's first democratically elected president from office, testament to its broader fear of political Islam gaining any traction in the Muslim world, despite the fact that the Muslim Brotherhood did not shed a single drop of blood to achieve its political objectives. And I don't support the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah. These examples demonstrate that the West will not even allow emancipatory movement embedded in the social fabric of their respective nations to gain power, as they could potentially append the status quo in the Arab world. Where it is economic and geographical interests are rooted. Therefore, if we witness the peaceful transition of a Gulf monarchy or Muslim majority nation into a caliphate, it will never receive the recognition of the international community unless it accepts the status of vassal set under Western patronage. By now, it should have drawn on the Muslim that any grassroots movement striving to establish a caliphate will inevitably incur the wrath of Western imperialists and be immediately blacklisted under the pretext of creating a rogue state which possesses an existential threat to the world order.